Arcturians, frequency shifting. Greetings to all at this time of celebration and festive activity. We are here to assist you toward a better understanding of the emotions some of you are experiencing at this time. This year, many are finding that holiday lights do not seem to be as bright, festivities not as attractive, shopping more of a burden, and that holiday celebrations no longer hold the same sense of excitement and enjoyment that they used to. This is because your evolving energetic frequency has shifted you out of alignment with much that, up to now, you enjoyed. Foods, entertainments, friends, etc., as well as many traditions no longer hold the same value they once held, which can make things difficult when you are in situations surrounded by people still in alignment with these things. Because you have evolved, attempts to revive the past and get on board as before simply will not work. This does not mean you will never again enjoy these things, but rather means you will begin to see and experience them in new ways and with a deeper understanding of what they represent, rather than from a level that is in alignment with the emotionally based commercial hype being broadcast to you 24/7. Excitement and celebrations will no longer be as intense as they were in the past, simply because you are now experiencing them from a different level of awareness. The world will continue to push, and many will accept holiday concepts, whether they be traditions or simply TV promotions, because these things hold the promise of that happiness and love everyone seeks. Most of these promotions are based in the belief of lack and limitation, and as long as there remains a receptive audience at that level, they will continue. Businesses functioning from the third-dimensional sense of lack and limitation are beginning to sense change, which is causing them to intensify sales efforts through ever more promotions, gimmicks, and emotional nonsense. In order to be successful in the new energies, businesses must begin to function at the level of these new energies, which is the level of love and gratitude. Love. I lovingly do my best to provide for you what you need. Gratitude. You respond with just and fair payment. An example of a higher resonating business is one in which the owner and workers go out of their way to make things right for a customer, even to the point of occasionally telling them that they really don't need the particular product or service. An old energy business is one that really doesn't care about its services or product, customers, or employees as long as the sale is made. Things will never again be as they once were. The idea of the good old days is a myth. In reality, these were times in which a great deal of darkness and density was either well hidden or accepted by a society with rigid concepts of morality. Evolution cannot be stopped. Mankind is graduating and cannot go back to places outgrown, although many are trying. We wish to speak on the subject of disease. Disease simply refers to interrupted, discordant energy, dis-ease, within one or more of your bodies, physical, mental, emotional, or even spiritual. Dis-ease perfectly reflects duality and separation, and has become firmly established in world consciousness because of the many unawakened lifetimes everyone has lived within that belief system. God does not, nor cannot sustain or maintain anything unlike itself, for it is all there is. If disease was a divine idea in the mind of God, it would be forever incurable, held permanently in place by divine law. At this time, when a great deal of cellular clearing is taking place, most of you are experiencing various physical symptoms. However, disease is still being formed anew from an alignment with certain belief systems, cellular memory of some disease still active, and occasionally a specifically chosen lesson. You are creators. Whenever society directs attention to a specific disease in some way, it automatically causes it to become more fully integrated into the universal human mind as a power. Because you are spiritual beings, your real body is spiritual. Everyone has a permanent spiritual energetic body, but the density of the third dimension requires a physical, denser body. Every soul chooses pre-birth and with guidance, their parents' time of birth, name, if parents can intuit it, gender, and a vehicle that would best serve them in accomplishing what they have chosen to learn while on Earth. Some souls specifically choose a body with physical or mental imperfections, because it will perfectly serve their soul growth or that of the parents. These are usually soul group decisions. The soul does not enter at conception, as many believe, but most will go in and out until the later phases of gestation when it permanently enters its chosen vehicle. This leaves time for a soul to decide if the vehicle, parents, and situation are those that will best meet their intentions. Never judge yourself or others according to any physical, emotional, or mental issues you or they may be dealing with. The appearance of a perfect physical body does not always reflect a high state of consciousness, because the energy of duality always manifests as pairs of opposites. The sick or deformed body, or the mentally impaired person you see, may be an evolved soul who, out of love, chose that particular vehicle in order to assist with another's learning process. In reality, as with everything in the material world, the physical body is simply a three-dimensional interpretation of the perfect spiritual body, but that level of awareness has not yet been attained by most. After incarnating into third-dimensional energy, most forget and begin to accept beliefs and concepts based in duality and separation, setting the stage for accidents, disease, and discords of every kind. As a soul evolves and becomes aware of who and what they are, this is automatically reflected in the physical. The best anti-aging beauty treatment is meditation, because it aligns a person with their true self. This is how Jesus performed so-called miracles. Because those seeking help aligned with his state of consciousness, a consciousness devoid of any beliefs of disease, the outer appearances of discord simply dissolved, having nothing to feed and support them. This was not healing, nor was it a miracle. Rather, it was a revealing of the universal reality which is never personal or limited to one special person, but is rather the natural expression of an attained consciousness of truth. As mankind begins to realize that dis-ease is formed from energies of duality and separation, they will begin to cease creating them. Age and deterioration, lack and limitation, sickness and health are firmly embedded beliefs promoted throughout the world as reality, but which in reality are concepts based in the belief in them. Health is an area where the majority have given their personal power away in deference to the experts. Many still believe themselves to be at the mercy of their body, and so, from a level of fear, embrace every new promotion or expert advice regarding what foods to eat, what exercises to do, and everything bad for them. Concepts that, more often than not, become obsolete as soon as a new expert comes along. What may be right for one may be totally wrong for another, because everyone is an individual expression of source. Food is actually the material sense of energy. At a certain point in the evolutionary process, you will begin to get your energy directly, rather than needing to get it from material food. This is why you may hear or read about people who do not need to eat, fruitarians, breatharians, and is also why many of you are now experiencing smaller appetites. You are beginning to get your energy from within, and don't need as much physical food. Most do not realize that health is an area where power needs to be reclaimed. It is a gradual process that few have fully attained at this point. It is very important not to fall into the trap of believing that you have somehow spiritually failed if you get sick or are experiencing some disease. Rather than aligning with whatever is being touted as the latest health trend, trust your intuition to guide you in knowing what foods, exercise, or actions are appropriate for you. You will discover that some ideas will resonate in a way that you respond to, and others will not trust this. When you live from this level, those things right for you may seem to come from some person, article, class, etc., but in reality, will be coming from your own state of consciousness, through them. It is important not to ignore something physical in the belief that you are above needing human help, or that you must handle it spiritually. Be very honest with yourselves, trusting your intuition and never pretending a state of consciousness not yet attained. Most importantly, do not fall into a sense of guilt when you feel the need to seek help. Help is available on all levels of awareness, and you do not spiritually regress if you hold truth within as you realize a need to seek it. On Earth, there are many basic reasons for the body to function less than optimum: false foods, separation from the healing energies of nature, and even the pollution you breathe and drink in every day affects your physical body until you attain and are able to live out from a consciousness of their non-power. You are learning to move beyond world beliefs and not react with fear and trepidation to every ache and pain with visualizations of diseases and dire events. Instead, use every experience as a tool to remember and more fully integrate the truth that you are a divine being with a body of light, who happens to be using a physical vehicle at this time in order to learn and experience. You are not your body. You have a body, but you are not a body. Just as with your automobile, you take care of it, wash it, fuel it, and give it regular maintenance, but you never become it. You have taken yourselves to a point in your evolution where the hard part of this journey is behind you, and you can start to coast on the momentum that has been created in all of your previous experiences in this lifetime. You have been raised to believe in hard work, to believe in struggle, and to believe that there is no gain without pain. And so, it is our job to deprogram you and to convince you that you can go a lot easier on yourselves from now on. When you hear about the ideas of letting go and surrendering, it often sounds to you like the ones who are pushing that on you want you to give up on your dreams. Or at the least, it seems like you were supposed to give in to the current set of circumstances in your lives. What we want to suggest to you is that there is much more to be gained in your release of the tension, the resistance, and the trying to make something happen than there is in holding on tight to your desires. When you let go, you demonstrate a certain amount of trust in the universe and in the laws of the universe. What we want for you more than anything else is to experience yourselves as creator beings. And to have that experience, you must trust that the hard work is done. You must be willing to give in to the flow, to be conduits of energy, rather than the ones who are turning the crank to generate the energy that you then hope will take you home. Letting go, surrendering, and trusting will open the floodgates for you, and you will solidify yourselves in the position of creators of your reality. Indeed, there is great power in letting go and letting all of that energy that you have summoned in. There is a now that is more related to the here than to the time. In the fifth dimensional frequency of reality, the operating system is quite different from the third/fourth dimensional operating system. Because humans have had many incarnations in the third/fourth dimensional frequencies of Earth, it is often difficult for them to realize and recognize that there is a now in which there is no time. In a reality that resonates to the fifth dimension and beyond, time is a term that is used for people to mark their connection within the collective. By collective, we mean those who have joined into a collective reality in which humans are no longer bound by the rulers of third/fourth dimensional planet. In this collective planet, which resonates to the fifth dimension and beyond, now is the only time and here is the only place. In other words, there is no traveling over time to get to a certain place. We know that it is very difficult for those who have had many third-dimensional incarnations to understand these concepts. Because of all humanity's many third-dimensional incarnations, many humans have grown accustomed to here as being a place or experience. Also, this place or experience is usually marked in some manner by the time that they spent in that place. When they were in that place, it was the now of that experience as the now was the time that they were presently in that place. However, on the fifth dimension, here and now mean the same thing because there is no time and no space to separate the here from the now. The fifth dimension is always here right now because there is no sense of time to represent the distance between where you were going, and where you are now. There is no difference because the here has crossed into the no time of the fifth dimension. Yes, there is still a sense of individuality of each life form, but in the fifth dimensional no time, you primarily perceive beings' auras, which are always overlapping, joining and merging with other auras. Hence, even though people and objects may appear to be somewhat separate, you can easily perceive how the auras of all persons, places, and things overlap to blend them into the one of the here. Even the most clairvoyant person would not be able to see the separation between any life forms, because all life has an aura that blends and intermingles with all the other auras. Then, because all the auras merge into the one of that here, all the beings that share their aura with others are in constant contact with anyone with whom they share their aura. We, the Arcturians, understand why third-dimensional humans do not allow their auras to overlap and merge with other people's auras unless they deeply know and totally trust that other person. However, in the fifth dimension, everyone can see, clairvoyant, feel, clairsentient, and here, clairaudient, everyone else all the time, within the now. In the fifth dimension, time and space, now and later, are not separate. For example, time and space intertwine and blend into the now. This now is within the here of how each and every perception intertwines within the one of the fifth dimensional no time to transmute into the now of that here. Your fifth dimensional thinking does not fit too easily into the third/fourth dimensions, as the third/fourth dimensions are ruled by time and space. Therefore, these dimensions have a totally different operating system than the fifth dimension, which operates via the here and the now. It is for this reason that third-dimensional human does not easily perceive or remember their fifth-dimensional perceptual experiences. A perception is something that you might experience, but may or may not attend to it long enough to switch from your initial short-term memory into the long-lasting long-term memory. It is for this reason that our grounded ones often forget their fifth-dimensional experiences and/or communications. Therefore, we remind you all to make sure that you always have a pen and paper, or a means to type or speak into a recording whenever you consciously perceive, hear, or see a fifth-dimensional being or object, such as a starship. What we observe is that the ascending ones have a fifth-dimensional experience, but are unable to transition this experience into their third-dimensional long-term memory. Therefore, they quickly forget not only the message, but the feel of the message. This is where your physical body is very helpful. When you allow your interdimensional message to flow into your physical body will remember the physical feeling that accompanies the flow of a higher dimensional message into your physical perceptual field. When this higher dimensional message enters your physical perceptual field, it joins the summed total of all the higher dimensional visions and experiences that you have been able to accept without fear or doubt. These visions and experiences are stored in your high heart and multi-dimensional mind as possible versions of reality. We are the Arcturian group,